Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're setting off on our biggest adventure yet, Africa and Tanzania. To get there, we're going to have about 30 hours of travel. Departing Adelaide at night, we'll take the new Emirates route direct to Dubai before flying again on Emirates to the largest city of Tanzania, Dar Es Salaam. But the travelling won't stop there. We'll catch a local flight from Dar Es Salaam to Kilimanjaro International Airport in the north of the country, and then by car to our hotel in Arusha. It's an absolute mammoth journey, so stay tuned to see what to expect. The United Republic of Tanzania is a country located in East Africa, and from 2000 to 2024, the population has doubled to approximately 67 million people, and likely to exceed 70 million this year. The population comprises of about 120 different tribes, with over 100 different languages. The national language, though, is Swahili, but English is taught in their higher education and used for trade. Tanzania is the 13th largest country in Africa and is known for its vast wilderness, amazing wildlife, and Africa's highest mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro. Now back to the flight. Those business seats look mighty comfy, but alas, it will be 13 hours in economy, travelling on a 777-333 layout. Settling in, we received a cute amenities pack, decorated in African wildlife. Inside were flight socks, a bookmark, earplugs, a sleeping mask, and toothbrush and toothpaste. Being a late flight, shortly after takeoff, they served up a late dinner. I opted for a beef stroganoff with a potato puree, but it didn't taste like beef stroganoff that I'm used to. While she opted for a ginger lemon chicken rice, which didn't look like any chicken rice I've ever seen. The mains were reasonable, but nothing exceptional. The sides included a couscous, and for dessert, a cheesecake with a fudge sauce, which is probably my highlight from the meal. Struggling to get much sleep, after about 4 hours, the crew came through with a light snack. This time it was an empanada, but if you could, I'd probably sleep through this one. The pastry was super thick, and the flavour inside was pretty average. This was the only bite she had. After tossing and turning for a few more hours, it was getting towards morning, so breakfast was served. I opted for an omelette with sausage, which had a terrible croissant, which also featured some yogurt and fruit. And I can't tell you what she ordered, some sort of frittata. The meal sizes were significant, but the breakfast was definitely not memorable. A short while after breakfast, we arrived in Dubai after approximately 13 hours. Here we had a 3-hour layover, enough to stretch the legs and explore the terminal. Wait, how do you win a car in an international terminal? Do they ship it internationally to you? There are plenty of gold souvenirs, but unfortunately no genie appeared from this land. We walked around Terminal 3, which is the largest airport terminal in the world, capable of handling 43 million passengers a year. Mostly filled with high-end shops and a Lego store, which didn't really interest us. We grabbed a coffee, and before long, it was time to board our next flight. We again would be travelling economy in a 777, but this time the flight was a lot more full. Departing about 30 minutes late, flight time was 5 hours and 25 minutes. But shortly after takeoff, lunch was served. I had a creamy chicken with turmeric rice and a pasta salad side, and she had a beef curry which had a nice kick to it, and for dessert, a chocolate mousse. After a smooth flight, we arrived roughly on time in Dar Es Salaam, Africa. The landscape looked green with blue skies, and it was super hot and humid. But unfortunately, this wasn't the end of our journey. We still needed to catch a flight to Kilimanjaro Airport. There's no information about flight delays, but eventually it was time to board our Precision Air flight on board an ATR-72 turboprop plane. It had a 2x2 layout and looked a bit old and tired, like us at this point. We did get some great views of Dar es Salaam on departure, which was a bit of a bonus. And then just as the light was fading, a glimpse of the highest freestanding mountain in the world, Mount Kilimanjaro. Apologies for my poor phone footage. Then, just as sunset arrived, we landed in Kilimanjaro International Airport with the final leg of our travel to go. But first, meet our guide and local legend from African Big Cat Safaris, Klaus. This Toyota Land Cruiser would be home for the next 8 days. We'll have to give you a better tour of our vehicle next time, but it was a customized Land Cruiser trip carrier. We loaded the vehicle and hopped in. The car itself had been modified to feature 6 bucket seats and also a rear fridge to keep the beers cool. The seats also had additional cushioning, which was definitely welcome on the rough roads.
There's a fridge.
On to our final leg, finally! A 1-hour drive from Kilimanjaro Airport to the northern city of Arusha, home to over 2 million people. Our home for the first night in Africa. The home was basic but had everything we could need. Most importantly, the bed. The usual amenities like tea and coffee provided, and a basic bathroom and shower, but with no hot water as it was late in the day. We found out later that they're all solar hot water systems. It was about 8 p.m. in the evening, so it was time for a late dinner at the hotel restaurant, and I may have overordered. Serving sizes were huge. We had a coconut chicken curry, some chips and salad, and also had a beautifully skewered barbecue beef. So delicious. Good night. After a really good rest, we were up and able to explore the hotel further, and were greeted by beautiful skies, banana trees, and pleasant temperatures. The hotel had a great looking pool area, and some other places to chill out and relax. But unfortunately, there wasn't much time for a swim because, very importantly, breakfast was being served. Breakfast, which we found out was quite an affair here in Africa. We had a buffet featuring salads, sausages, baked beans, all sorts of fruits, and even your own chef to cook eggs, or in this case, French toast. The tropical fruit here was an absolute highlight, and we're even too busy eating to film the monkeys which were playing overhead. It was very hard not to go for seconds here, but after our big dinner last night, we just couldn't eat anymore. Not long after, we were ready to depart, and Klaus gave us a tour of his hometown of Arusha. The city was absolutely alive and full of people going out on their daily lives, with markets, stalls, and people just making a living. Scooters, tuk-tuks, and motorbikes flying around, it felt like it was Southeast Asia. Arusha is located on the southern slopes of Mount Meru and is at an altitude of 1,400 meters above sea level, so despite being near the equator, temperatures are quite pleasant. You can see Mount Meru behind the KFC. Our first stop was the Cultural Heritage Centre in Arusha. The centre features some cultural experiences, souvenir shops, a restaurant, and the soon-to-be-built Jane Goodall Museum. It also had probably the most impressive art gallery we have ever seen. It housed paintings and sculptures from tribes all across Africa, but had a main focus on the East African region, most of which were available to be purchased and shipped home. The paintings here looked absolutely incredible, just like a picture, and showcased the unbelievable African talent. The building had over 6 stories and would take you over half a day to see it all. It had some truly stunning pieces, and it was far better than the Louvre or other famous European art galleries. It was definitely worth seeing if you're visiting Tanzania. Don't mind me, I was a little bit shy in filming a cultural performance. road. Along the way, we got to admire the beautiful Tanzanian landscape and the local Maasai villagers moving their cows and goats as they search for better grazing land. Out there in the heat, life is tough for them, with even the young children helping out. It also gave us a chance to try some local snacks, like this barbecued banana. Yum! The Maasai tribe were common in the area and are historically a nomadic tribe depending on their cattle for survival. They eat their meat, drink their milk, and even blood. They are easily recognized from their traditional and colorful clothing, and were often seen walking along the roads town to town. Soon, the flat highway gave way to the gravel tracks, where we passed by several villages. And at this time of the year, the area south of Arusha was very dry and very warm. We also come across a few shops selling local artwork. Definitely a good place to pick up a bargain. It's here where we got to experience some of the more local style of driving. It's definitely not uncommon here to overtake wherever you are. And it always seemed like we were in a race with the other local tour companies. That being said, our man was a great driver, and we never felt unsafe. On this bumpy track, that extra cushioning on the seats was paying off big time, and you definitely need a proper 4x4 out here. Here we passed a local Maasai village with their traditional huts, built by only the women of the tribe. After about an hour and a half, we arrived at the entry point, and it was time to convert to safari mode. Time to pop the truck and get the binoculars and camera ready. It was time for the first safari in Africa, in Tarangire National Park. In our next episode, we're going to hit the road on our first African safari. It's going to be a super wild adventure that you're not going to want to miss. Tarangire National Park gave us that glimpse of amazing wildlife that you come to see. So hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and we'll see you again in the next one.